Welcome back at the Centurion Club here in Zurich. Like I've promised you in different videos before, I'm going to show you a 20 minutes ab special today. We've had already a 20-minute full body workout, a 20-minute leg workout, and the 20-minute upper body push and pull. And now, in addition to all of these 20-minute workouts, I'd like to show you my 20 minutes ab special. So for all of you that do not want to miss out my future training videos and Q&As, please subscribe to my channel and click on that bell so you receive the notifications and not miss out on future updates. Important for all of you to know, all of these 20-minute workouts, they are for the people that are super limited in time. If you cannot go to the gym 4 or 5 times a week and you don't have the time to spend 60 to 90 minutes working out, these 20 minutes workouts are ideal. If you can spend more time, then that obviously would be ideal. These 20-minute workouts are not typical bodybuilding training sessions. They're really focused on how you can maximize your training in a very short amount of time. So with this in mind, today's abs workout focuses on exactly that. How can you maximize your ab workout in 20 minutes? The structure is very similar like I did in previous workouts. We have 3 exercises. We take 2 minutes of break in between the sets and exercises, and we do like 7 sets. We do 3 sets in the first exercise and 2 sets in the second and third exercise. If you want to work very specifically on your abs and you do have more time for your workout, please click the link in the description and download my free abs routine. I explain there step by step on how you can build the perfect 8-pack. Your abs are a very large muscle group. They work and stabilize your upper body with most of the other exercises you do. When you squat, when you deadlift, when you bench and shoulder press, your abs always stabilize. Also, they're a great support for your back, specifically your lower back. That's why I think your abs do deserve special attention, because the stronger your abs, the stronger your back, and the stronger overall. So with this in mind, let's start with the first exercise, the ab crunch in the machine. So we start with the abs machine. This is where you can move most of the weight of the 3 exercises that we pick for the abs routine. Make sure that you always use perfect movement. The pivot point should be on the height of your belly button or slightly below, so you can really target your abdominal wall when crunching. Always keep your knees together. That gives you a basic tension in your abdominals, and when you then crunch into or down even more, you can build up maximum contraction. The idea of the crunch is not to pull down the weight. The idea of the crunch is to shorten the distance between your shoulders and hips, which means you have to round your back. I see a lot of people that pull down the weight, their back is straight, and then all the focus shifts on your hips, and there is literally only very little or non-tension in your abs. If you want to build thick abs, you really need to crunch and round on your back. You keep your knees together and imagine you want to shorten the distance between your shoulders and hips. So once fully crunched up, you roll up vertebrae after vertebrae until you're fully upright again. So crunch up all the way down, shorten the distance between your shoulders and hips, suck in your belly, and roll up until you're upright again. I see a lot of people pulling down the weight with a straight back. In this position, my whole tension, and I can actually feel it, is in my hip flexors. That is not ab crunching. That doesn't put the focus on your abdominals to build thick abs. You really want to round on your back to keep the tension in your abs. Let's move on to the second exercise, seated knee-ups. This maybe takes a couple of sets or a couple of repetitions to really find the perfect tension in your lower abs. Make sure that the pivot point in knee-ups is below your belly button. Again, it takes some practicing until you find the perfect angle and the perfect spot, but when you do, this is a really great exercise to develop an 8-pack. Why do I choose knee-ups over hanging leg raises? My hands will get tired before my abs are tired, so we need some straps that kind of tie me up so then that I don't lose my grip. Also, hanging leg raises are much harder to really focus on your abs. After a while, your legs come behind your body, you have to swing them up, and by the moment you have to swing them up, the focus is not on your abs anymore. So to me, it's much more effective doing knee-ups on the bench and seated to really focus on my lower abdominals. I train my lower abs by sitting on the very end of a bench. I then place my hands behind me and point my feet out in front. Your now outstretched body will be angled at approximately 45 degrees to the floor. You use your hands merely as a guide throughout the exercise to help ensure that you don't lean too far back. This places stress on your lower back, or lean too far forward. This shifts the emphasis away from your lower abs and onto your hip flexors and thighs. Make sure you are targeting your lower abdominal region when you pull the knees up, directed to your chest. The final exercise of today's ab workout is are the alternated crunches. Really wrap your head around this. It's not the idea of doing a classic crunch where you pull your chin all the way up to your knees. It's a very short, distant move, and you want to shorten the distance between your shoulders and hips. This is a way of training your abs in a very isolated way without your hip flexors helping. So make sure you feel the tension only in your abs and nowhere else. As soon as you feel like you have to pull up harder with your shoulder blades or your hips are involved, you're turning it into a classic crunch, which is not what we want. So let me show you the perfect way of training your abs in an isolated way. I lie on my back on a soft mat. This provides a nice even support for my spine. Then I raise my feet off the floor, bending my knees until the stress moves away from my legs and hips and onto my lower and mid abs. I hold this stress and position in my abs and steadily shorten the distance between my shoulders and hips. I feel my spine round into the mat and all of my abdominals become fully engaged and contracted through a relatively shallow range of motion at maximum contraction. I briefly hold and tighten my abs without involving my lower back, and then I return slowly to the relaxed position. It is important that you fully relax when lying flat so that the muscles can go from zero tension to maximum tension during that rep. I also keep my hands flat on the mat, palms down alongside my legs, and I slide them along the mat throughout the exercise. At the end of each repetition, in the relaxed position, I raise my hands up over my head and touch the ground above behind my head, opening out my rib cage and abdominal wall, at which point I take a deep breath that I will exhale during the next positive phase of the crunch before returning to the start position, placing my hands on the sides of my legs and performing another rep. Under the constraint of this being a limited amount of time ab workout, you can't move as much weight and as many repetitions as you would do normally if you had more time. Ideally for me, I would take more break in between the sets and exercises to maximize weights and repetitions. If you would like to have my full ab workout routine, please click the link down in the description and you can follow through all the steps of my perfect abs workout. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this ab workout with me. I'm going to have my protein shake now and I look forward to see you the next time. If you don't want to miss out my weekly uploads, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell and you'll receive a notification with my next video coming up.